Can you hear now?
Yeah, they can hear you. Okay.
Okay.
Did you want me to start all over again, or we should probably start at the top of the presentation. Do you mind going back?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we can just start right here.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Today's presentation is about the online social marketing campaign called Not Buying It. This campaign was developed in collaboration with Alaska's Tobacco Prevention and Control Program and Northwest Strategies to address e-cigarette use and vaping in Alaska. Overview of the presentation, we're going to describe vaping in Alaska, describe how we determined our target audience, our brand development, share some media currently available, and describe plans for the future of the campaign. So what is vaping? There are different terms for electronic cigarette use. The terms used have changed since they were first introduced in 2007 and have evolved through 4 generations. So you may have heard different terms such as electronic nicotine device, e-cigarettes, or vaping. For this presentation, they're fairly interchangeable, but they're all a handheld battery-powered vaporizer that simulates smoking. They come in many sizes and shapes, have different levels of nicotine, come in fruit and candy flavors, and the newer generations of vapes are made with nicotine salts, making them easier to inhale. As mentioned before, e-cigarettes entered the US market in 2007, and by 2014 they were the most commonly used tobacco product among US youth. So sharing some of our Alaska data, Youth Risk Behavior Survey data, YRBS, has been collecting e-cigarette data since 2015, and it's collected every other year. So we don't have a whole lot of data around that. Even though it's only been a short time, that data indicates that 40% of high school students reported ever trying vapes, and 16% have used them in the last 30 days, so more frequently. This is concerning because research has shown that using vapes increases the likelihood that youth or teens would move to commercial tobacco products. And our behavioral risk factor surveillance survey data for adults 18 and older indicate that half the adult smokers started smoking before 18. So it's important to prevent youth from becoming regular users of tobacco products at a young age. I also wanted to mention on this slide that almost half of the those who reported using vaping products said that they got them from borrowing from friends, and we'll address that more in the campaign as we go on. So determining the target audience. This is a bar chart from our Tobacco Facts report. It highlights that although e-cigarettes have been marketed as devices to help adults quit smoking cigarettes, they are more commonly used by high school students than by adults. The blue bars indicate e-cigarette use and the green bar is cigarettes. Part of the attraction for youth are the candy and fruit flavors. Also, the newer generations are more difficult to identify than traditional tobacco products. They're easier to conceal, they smell like fruit and candy flavors, and they're designed to look like products that you would expect youth to have, such as a USB or a thumb drive. Okay. Promising practices to reduce youth access. So these are promising practices in addressing tobacco use in youth. In order for any of these strategies to address vaping, it is important that vapes be recognized as tobacco products. The Youth Access Law was updated in January of 2019 in Alaska to include e-cigarettes or vapes as tobacco products. This also makes it illegal for anyone under the age of 19 to possess vaping products. Looking at school policies, 43 of our 54 school districts in Alaska already have a tobacco-free policy, and smoke-free workplace law that was implemented in October of 2018 includes all public places. So school campuses are protected by that law as well. Increasing the age to purchase products to 21. We already have Sitka and Anchorage who have adopted T21 ordinances, and there is a national movement to move to T21. Price increases. Some of our communities have already included e-cigarettes in local taxes, but e-cigarettes are not currently taxed at the state tobacco taxes. Flavor restrictions. National data indicates that 7 of 10 youth say they prefer flavors, but there are currently no flavor bans in Alaska, and we don't collect the flavor information in our YRBS data, so we rely on that national data. And then engaging youth. There are limited studies that show providing education to youth about health harms of tobacco prevent them from trying it. There is, however, some evidence that engaging their peers to advocate against tobacco can keep them from trying and using tobacco, essentially making it not cool. Since we've seen some success with our policies and price increases, we felt it was best to engage youth as the approach for this campaign. Our Tobacco Prevention and Control Program contracted with Northwest Strategies, also called NWS, to develop a social media campaign to engage youth in the conversation about vaping. NWS did their own research to determine how best to engage youth. Since it's difficult to truly do focus group testing with our target population, we decided to do the next best thing. Engage youth who are in their communities addressing the harms of tobacco use. Rural CAP is an organization that works directly with youth with a peer-to-peer model to address health harms. One component of their organization is the Teen Ambassador Program, in which high school students and young adults participate in trainings led by Rural CAP staff and then provide education in their communities and schools to prevent their peers from using tobacco. With this particular group, our goal was to ensure we were using the appropriate language and utilizing the best media outlets. This chart shows the dollars spent on marketing of e-cigarettes to the public. As you can see, there's been a significant increase in the marketing of these products over the years, and that coincides with the increase of youth usage. Part of the problem is that messaging from the tobacco industry, whether intentional or not, draws in youth. The tobacco and vaping industry has been marketing these products as safe to use and cessation devices, even though they are not recognized by the FDA as such. So brand development, messaging about health harms hasn't proven to be significantly successful with youth. The approach of this campaign is to educate youth that the tobacco industry is financially linked with e-cigarettes, and there's a history of knowingly selling products that are harmful from the tobacco industry. This campaign focuses more on deceitful marketing practices and less on long-term health outcomes, like you would see with the TIPS campaign. Teen ambassadors helped to develop the messaging and the brand for the campaign. It was their suggestion that not buying it be the message, and they were also in charge of selecting colors and the fonts that are used in this style. Our objectives were to inform youth about e-cigarettes and new products, educate teens about deceptive marketing practices, prevent teens from starting to use tobacco products and e-cigarettes, and create more teen ambassadors to carry the message and promote a tobacco-free life. And who are we talking to? The target population, a male and female. Although there was slightly higher male use than female, we felt the data was close enough that we needed to address both male and female. According to local and national data, primary age of use and new initiation needed to be as young as 12 and up to the age of 25, since our messaging indicates an impact on brain development up to the age of 25. We've all income levels, particularly focus on middle to higher levels in regards to e-cigarette messaging. This is based on the data that showed middle and higher income levels have just as high prevalence as low income. Our YRBS data indicated that the demographic needed to focus on white Alaskans with some focus on Alaska Native and Asian Alaskans. And then larger communities such as Alaska have a higher prevalence than rural communities. So we'd be focusing on Anchorage, Fairbanks, Mat-Su, and Juneau. A couple more key considerations. Most teens reported they're not aware that there's nicotine in the products. Teens reported they believe they're safe, and that traditional health harm messaging doesn't test well with the teen population. So now we're going to move on to some examples of the media that's been developed. It didn't make sense to drive the audience to a government webpage since they're more likely to visit social media, use their mobile devices like their phones. We needed a main page for the campaign, so we developed a Facebook page that could post and share. And this is an example of one of the posts. This next example, we launched in April of 2019. We currently have 104 likes, 115 followers, and are reaching more than 6,000 teens per week. Okay, here's a couple more postings. This one on the left, think smoking makes you look cool, has reached over 31,000 people. It's been shared multiple times. Not buying it with the cigarette and the snake, highlighting the deceitful practices. Next page. Here's a couple more posts. This not buying it with the e-cigarette is equal to 1 pack of tobacco. And then the other one highlighting that nicotine addiction is not something that people should have to deal with. A couple more postings. Dealing with stress. And then ongoing addiction. And this is the first of our videos. This is a YouTube that we'll share with you.
From your first puff, you feel in control. But with each drag, the nicotine takes over, and the puppet strings pull tighter and tighter. Don't let corporate big tobacco keep stringing you along. E-cigarettes, same nicotine, new packaging, same addiction. Tobacco controls.
Next we have tobacco.
From your first,
Oops, sorry. Next one is tobacco replaces.
When you sell a product known to kill, you're constantly replacing customers who become ill or die. With sales threatened, you create new products with the same addictive drug to keep users hooked. And flavors so enticing, they appeal to the next generation of addicts. Do you really want our kids to become the vaping industry's next lab rat? Tobacco replaces.
Okay. Here's a couple examples of some posters that have been developed. These were put together in response to requests from grantees and school administrators. They're available through the TPC program, highlighting the Not Buying It campaign. Okay. And here's our media post from October through December. Media used is mobile, tablet, app, preview to online videos, YouTube, and Facebook. This is just for that one quarter. And for the month of December, we'll be using Spotify as well. These media posts come out quarterly, and so if you're interested in, we can be sharing that as well. So then what's next? Moving forward, we plan to continue to monitor which sites get attention and invest accordingly. We have new advisory group we're implementing. We're currently recruiting high school students who are interested in getting some media experience. We plan up to 15 high school students school students ages 13 to 18 who will work with Northwest Strategies from January until June to develop memes, participate in development of scripts and videos, and they will be presenting at the annual TPC training in June. We're also trying to share any messaging that's developed by other organizations, youth campaigns to help increase reach of TPC and partners. And that would be any grantees who are sharing social media, are targeting youth and ANTHC in particular. And that is all I have for you today. If we have any questions.
So there is a couple questions that came up while you were doing your presentation.
Okay.
How do you know you're reaching 6,000 youth each week or month on Facebook. Does Facebook provide that sort of information, as they were under the impression that youth don't use Facebook, they use Snapchat or Instagram and other types of social media? Do Alaska youth use Facebook?
I believe it comes from Google Analytics. That's how we're evaluating Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook itself also has analytics, and that is being pulled for us with our partnership with MicroStrategies.
Are you using Instagram at all?
We're not currently using Instagram. We were limited to how we could share media under under the state guidance. Facebook was the easiest way to do it. We do have some Twitter.
Okay. A couple more questions coming in. Do you have youth selected for this group already? And what is the time commitment for those teams?
Time commitment is, we're looking for a couple hours a month. We do not have all those spots filled. So you can reach out to myself and I can share that with Amanda. A few hours a month, there may be some travel involved and they would need parental approval.
Okay. Let's see. How can you get the posters?
Through the TPC program, you can email me. My information is up here online now, and we can send posters out to your communities.
Are there any posters that they can share with schools?
Yes, those posters are meant for schools.
Okay.
They're not, this campaign is developed for youth, not necessarily for adult use, but the posters do highlight the campaign so kids can be sharing that.
All right. Can they also share our stuff with CRNA Facebook page?
If you will contact me with anything that you want to share, I will send that on to put you in contact with Amanda. And then, yeah, we can be sharing. We'd love to share what you've got as well.
Another option is to have your organizations like and follow the Not Buying It page and directly share the content from there, which just is a great way to start the messaging on Not Buying It and continuing it out through various partners. So that's another way to do it.
Okay, so more about the team group information. Are they in-person meetings or telephonic?
Most of them will be on a Zoom platform or by phone, however works best for them. And as I stated before, there may be some travel. We've got some money in the budget so that if we could bring them in for face-to-face meeting before the June training, that could happen as well.
Okay. And do you have anything in place to help youth who want to quit?
So we do not currently have anything that we can use for youth through the TPC program.
Are there any schools partnered with the program?
Not currently, but that's a good idea.
And somebody would like to know if they can use their logo on your posters. So I guess that's another question.
Yes, you can go ahead and reach out to me and we can work on that.
Are there any questions that people want to ask themselves? Or you can just type it in and I can keep talking.
And as we're looking for questions to come in, just a reminder that we will have this webinar on our website as well as the PowerPoint slides within another week or two. And when that happens, we will send all registrants for the webinar a reminder email to let you know where this is found. We'll be doing another webinar again in January, so please watch for the announcements for that.
I don't see any other questions.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Oh, wait, one more.
But
Is there a way to break out the data to see the percentage of youth engagement in Alaska alone?
engagement through Facebook?
That we'd have to look into the
Okay.
analytics and get back to you on that one.
Okay.
All right, that's all.
Okay, thank you.